The Novo ecosystem is a complete solution for wireless collaboration and digital signage that's simple and easy to use. It is a comprehensive product line dedicated to any visual communication, integrating both meetings and digital signage into any display easily, wirelessly, and securely. Simple, guaranteed.
Goeienaand, baie welkom by 4 Anglers Live. Dis Dinsdag aand hier op Bank Anglers se Facebook bladsy en ons kuier saam en ons praat Engel. Goeie ou vriend, excuse the pun, a good old friend. Gordon Muir with me here tonight in the studio. Gordon, baie welkom hier by ons.
Dankie, Bernard.
Nou, ons gaan 'n lekker paar interessante goed met Gordon bespreek. Gordon was die afgelope naweek die veterane wenner by die Elite Series. So ons gaan so 'n bietjie met hom gesels oor kompeterende Engel. Maar belangrike goed. Eerste, baie dankie aan Orion Audio Visual, ons media vennote in die studio, en Gys Pitser Motors, ons wiele vennote, wat seker maak ons wiele is op die pad en ons kom altyd by die Engelwaters uit. Iets wat interessant is, ons het die afgelope 2 weke begin skiet aan hier gaan ons alweer, en Gys Pitser Motors as hoofborg was deel van die program. So hou dop, dis 'n baie interessante reeks wat opkom. Nou ja, waaroor gaan ons praat? Ons gaan met Gordon praat, ons gaan so 3 segmente met hom hanteer. We're also talking to Jannie Steitler from Sensational Angling. We did half of the saltwater stuff that they have new on the shelves, and we are going to look at the second half of that chat. We're going to have a couple of gems, then we have a bank tip specifically on floaties. Yes, something else that's interesting. What are we giving away? Tonight, we're giving away quite a number of Bonanza prizes. Onthou nou, die Super Bonanza wat Valdam, Bloemhof en Rode Koppies sluit af die 31ste Oktober. So daar's 'n paar dae oor daarvan en daar's 'n baie interessante resultate en ons sien uit om te sien wie die wenners was daar. Maar ons begin nou 'n paar groot pryse weggee op die Lucky Draws. So almal, ek hoop julle het julle Lucky Draws, so ons gaan 'n hele klompie Lucky Draws weggee en dan gee ons ook die stand weg. Johan Mostert het vir ons daardie stand gegee. Hy gee elke maand vir ons 'n pragtige mooi stand wat vir ons lede is. Hierdie keer gee ons hom weg vir ons jaarlikse 4 Anglers members. En as jy 'n jaarlikse 4 Anglers member is, dan is jou naam beslis in die hoed of in die wiel wat ons aan die einde van die program gaan spin. Daar's nog iets wat ons weggee, nie vanaand nie, maar volgende week. En dit is hierdie pragtige DC Premier 12 voet van Sensation, van hulle nuwe Pro Series stokke. Nou, vir wie gee ons hom weg? Ons het besluit om hom nog tot so die einde van die week te hardloop. Jy kan op enige een van die lives wat ons daaroor gepraat het, kan jy gaan kommentaar lewer. Jy sê, ek is Piet Pompies en ek wil graag die DC Premier wen, want bla bla bla. Jy los vir ons 'n boodskapie daar. Môreoggend kom die video uit waar ons die hele review gedoen het op die hele stel. Daar's 5 12 voet stokke wat ons wel mee gaan gooi het. En daardie video gaan jy môreoggend op 4 Anglers en op ons Facebook en ons YouTube kanale sien. Jy kan ook op daai video, kan jy vir jouself 'n plek loslaan in die wiel wat ons volgende week gaan spin. Nou ja, gee ons daardie weg, so hou dop, môre gaan julle daar die hele program kan kyk. Nou ja, dit is dit. Kom ons luister gou. Wat sê Jessica na span oor wat is in store, of wat is die gems wat ons huidiglik vir jou in store het op 4 Anglers?
In hierdie artikel is die fokus op 'n boot tydens oefenhengel sessies. Dit beteken dat die hengelaar enige soort boot gebruik om voer en ase in die hengelarea te plaas en ook soms om die vis mee te land. Die verskillende soorte bote bied sekere voordele en dan ook sekere nadele. Daar is natuurlik ook damme in Suid-Afrika waar geen bote op die dam toegelaat word nie, slegs radiobeheerde bootjies. The Scorpion rig, named by Nos's wife who said the rig looks like a scorpion's tail, is a rig made by Nos out of frustration. He needed a rig that could not get caught up in silt, weed or soft bottom dams. He achieved this presentation by using foam and pop-up plastic maze at the right size and weight of the hook to sit on any type of bottom with its point of the bottom. Nos also shows us how to tie the rig.
Ja, baie dankie aan Kingfisher wat dit vir ons moontlik maak om hierdie volgende segment met julle te kan deel. Gordon, paar vrae vir jou. Hoe lank vis jy al? Was dit voor Noag op die ark was of nadat hy gestrand het op Ararat?
I think I was in grade 1 at school.
Okay.
And a neighbor took me fishing. And they bought me a roller reel. And that's where I started fishing.
It was a couple of years back, eh?
Yeah, that was a couple of years ago. And I built my first fishing rod when I was in standard 1 out of a piece of Indian cane and a piece of fiberglass I found down at the dam. And I took wire off a fence and I made eyes and I bound that on with a roller reel. We used to pull your line out like that and then cast the rod. And those were the days when you caught real big fish.
Yes, yes.
Without even battling.
No ground bait.
No ground bait. Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost so die hoeke geknoop.
And mostly brown bread, or we used to get a little bit of custard.
And
yeah, that's it. That was our main bait. We even used to use at Middle Dam, we used to use praying mantises for bait.
Yeah.
Middle Dam has got the biggest yellowfish out that I've ever seen. That I've caught. Nobody's ever caught in any of the dams in Benoni, but Middle Dam in Benoni has got the biggest yellowfish.
Yellowfish.
Yellowfish, I've caught them up to half a meter long, and they green yellowfish, the best yellowfish.
Middle Dam in Benoni,
Middle
yeah.
Dam in Benoni. I used to catch them. I used to stand on those sewage pump and fish in the dam and catch them.
What?
And the biggest barbel I used to catch there with plat honors with that rod, with a roller reel, with that camelon line, the different color line, 15-pound line.
Yeah.
And I never lost the fish unless he pulled me off the pipe.
Yes.
That's when I started fishing, and then
those were the days.
Those were the days, yeah. And then we started fishing with Smitty and them, and then they started taking me. They bought me rods, and then that's how I started. And then they took me in as a junior, and I started with them in the club, and then just from there, it just went better and better and better.
So, from a competitive point of view, how long have you been competitive?
When I was at Nigel Angling Club.
That's from the 70s.
The 70s, yeah. I was at Nigel Angling Club, and I can't remember what the chairman's name was. The old man used to drive him. Datsun Bakkie. He said to me, go to the trials. I said, no, I don't want to go to the trials. He says, just go to the trials and see what happens. Went to the trials and made the A team. Cassie van der Meijden was our captain. I went into the Springbok trials. I got my colors. We went to Germany. And from then on, I just fished.
Now this past weekend, you won the veterans division at the elite. So you got some pocket money.
Yeah, but that was all old men, you know.
Yeah, of course. But you're also an old man.
Yeah, it was nice to get the pocket money, but I give it to my wife anyway for spending money. Yeah. So it was
to buy us some
you go to these things. It's win or lose. If you win, you win. If you lose, you go again next year if you make it.
Yeah.
You lose more than that you win. So you should never be heart sore, broken, because you're fishing and you don't do well. You go through those stages where you do very bad and you go through stages where you do well. So I go to the place to fish, and if I don't do well, it's too bad. I'll go again next week. And if I book a Saturday and Sunday, I do bad on the Saturday, it's okay, I'm going to fish on the Sunday anyway, and then you might do better. Vice versa.
Now these type of comps, they obviously, well, maybe I can just come back to something else now. In those days, it was only seniors. Now there's Masters Division and there's Veterans Division, and it's not only juniors, it's also Penkopper. And so the whole angling, can I say, sport has exploded in terms of opportunities.
Yes.
So the competition, I think, is more what can we call it, relevant or more power to power, force to force.
Yes.
Do you think it's something good for
It's
the...
very good. But what the people must always realize, if you like a veteran like me, don't always go and fish the veterans elite or pro mania. Fish with the seniors or the masters, so that if you get beaten there or you win there, you know you're still in the top. Now you go to the veterans and you win there all the time and you think you're good. You know, all right, the veterans, you lose a lot as well. But if you fish against good anglers like Jan Beekes, Spike Joubert, people like that are at the top, and you fish against them, and you
Picks up your game.
It picks your game up, and it makes you change your outlook to the fishing.
Yeah.
And I found that fishing, I don't know if it's still at the Pro Mania, you all fish together there still.
Yeah,
They don't,
you fish
you
together,
fall
but
in a
you-
different class.
Yes.
And then you also pick up good angling because you're always fishing with good anglers.
Yeah. Now you can have a...
Yeah, that's why
Top guy next to you.
when I enter some of the elites, I enter with the masters or I enter with the seniors. And if they beat me, I know I can get
Yeah.
beaten. If I beat them, then I know my game is still...
But it keeps you humble as well, eh?
Yeah, of course, fishing keeps you humble.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's just when you think,
you do.
I've got this.
And you, yeah, that's how it works.
Yeah, it does, eh?
You must never think like I've won now, I've won the elite now. That you
No,
go to, now
now
you go
you're
to
the
the
man.
next elite to fish the first elite, and you come last. What do you do then?
Exactly.
But you just pick up, you just go, you just carry on fishing.
So obviously through the year, you've worked hard to go to the finals.
Yes.
And then you need to get through the semis and those type of things. But for a big comp like this, which obviously, I mean, it is big, there's a lot of pressure, and it doesn't matter what the money or what the purse is, just for the honor of it, there's big pressure.
Yes.
How do you prepare for a game like this?
I prepare the same as what I prepare for any elite. Before I go to the elite, if I go to elite on Saturday, maybe Wednesday afternoon, I'll take my fishing box out. I'll redo all the dips. Check my traces that I've got in there. If I haven't got, then I've got plenty of traces made at home. Then I'll take the traces out there, pack them in there, get that ready, get my dips ready, put that back in my truck. And then I'll make sure, look, I'll make dough.
Put it back in your truck. Does that mean your truck stays...
My truck stays packed the whole year, except in the winter season when I go to the bushveld and it gets unpacked. Yeah. So otherwise it stays packed the whole season.
Just a fishing truck?
Just my fishing truck. It's only my fishing truck. I've got my fishing truck, I've got my going out car, and I've got my works truck. That truck is for fishing and bushveld only. So that truck stays packed. It's packed now. Look, I unpacked it today to take it to get washed. It's packed again. All I have to do is put the rods on, take my food, put them in the cool box, deegs. Nobody believes this, but I make deeg nearly for the whole year.
What?
I'm telling you. I'll take a photo. I'll make deeg in Tupperware things like this, and I'll put it in the fridge. And when I go, I take 2 white and 2 custard, put them in my truck, and I go.
And it lasts in the
It
freezer?
lasts.
Wow.
You put it in the fridge, it lasts.
We used to do that with like custard pop and brain
No,
bread.
but that goes sour.
Yeah.
Brown bread never. I've got my brown bread that I use for backing.
Yeah.
That I make one lot for the whole year.
Yeah.
That's how I'm prepared, and I just pack my truck. It's all ready to go, and then off we go. All my traces are made. So you prepare for your elite like you prepare for a big final competition or ESA competition.
But how do you prepare for a specific venue? Will you do some research before the time?
No, because I don't like phoning people and asking them what to do. Because then you get too clever, and then you get there and it doesn't work. So if you go there and do it yourself and you find out what's working, but never tell all the people your secrets, you know what I mean? Keep some things for yourself. People always they're too lazy to find it out for themselves. And it's easy to pick up the phone and say, Gordon, what did you do? And it doesn't work like that, man. I'm going to lie to you anyway.
Okay, so how do you prepare mentally?
Now, you're always prepared mentally. If you've been fishing all the time, you don't have to prepare mentally.
Okay, but
Like I've got an essay coming up now. What have I got to do? I've just got to make sure I've got enough food. I've got enough dips. Get in my truck and I go.
But you just mentioned something very important. You say, if you're fishing enough, you don't have to prepare mentally.
No.
But that's the preparation then, fishing
Yeah,
enough.
Fishing enough. No, you got to fish enough. You can't just think, I'm going to fish 2 competitions a year. Then you go to the trials, you get in the team, and now you got
it's
to.
It's like running a marathon or something. You can't just know how to do it. You've got to actually be fit.
It's also like gym. I go to gym. I like to go to gym 3, 4, 5 times a week.
Yeah.
And they say, why do you go so much? Because you want to be fit when you get there.
Yeah.
You don't want to. You got to be fit. Fishing, you got to be fit. People say fishing, you got to be fit. You got to be fit for fishing.
Okay, wel dis waarvoor ons tyd het nou. So 2 baie belangrike leerpunte wat Gordon nou hier vir my gesê het. Hy sê I don't prepare. If you fish enough, you are prepared. Maar dis baie belangrik. So die fisiese fiksheid, die mental fiksheid en hengelfiksheid is eintlik baie belangrike goed. Wat hy nog vir ons gesê het hier is hy het baie stroppe en deeg en alles wat reeds prepare is. So reg deur die jaar, when do you build your traces and those type of thing?
Yes, sometimes I just get home and then there's nothing to do, then I build traces. I've got it all marked out on my table.
Yeah.
I just measure, cut, then I do my hooks, measure, cut them.
So there's always a stash.
I've got plenty, then the hooks will lie there, the weights, the traces, I make all my traces the same size for carp angling. I've got it marked out on my table in my workshop. And I've got a special room built only for my fishing. Because you're not allowed to put your fishing stuff in your house. If the fishing stuff goes in the house, it goes in the dustbin. So you've got to build a special room for your fishing stuff.
Okay, nou daar's klaar 'n hele klomp interessante tips. Nou ja, kom ons kyk nou na nog 'n tip. Neville deel met ons, wat doen jy, wat is die beste manier om 'n floutie te haak?
Right, seker een van die mees gewilde hoekase. 'n Floutie en 'n deegie. Ons baie maniere. Hierdie is my manier. Ek hou van 'n geel flout en 'n wit flout, plain ongegeer. Ek voel 'n flout doen sy werk wanneer hy dryf en nie wanneer hy noodwendig gegeer is nie. Daai is 'n floutie as jy hom net so wil hengel, net 'n floutie alleen, is dit die manier hoe ek hom sal hak. Ek hoop hy wys daar 'n mooi daar. En dan wanneer ek 'n deegie agter hom sit, geel of 'n wit deegie, vat 'n stukkie deeg, hou die hoek aan die punt vas daar. En dan die deeg is nou daar op my vinger. Hy plak so lekker vas daar op my vinger. So ek sal hom net op die lyn vat en hom rol tussen my wysvinger en my duim, dat hy lekker lank op die lyn is en op daai manier kan ek hom vorentoe skuif oor die hoek sy oogie, laat hy agter die floutie gaan sit. En daai is 'n perfekte hoekaas, veral wanneer karp jou teikenspesie is, veral wanneer jy diep hengel. Een hoek definitief 'n floutie en 'n deegie. Jy kan hom natuurlik langer en groter en vetter ook aansit. Ek sal hom selfs baie keer nog 'n bietjie kleiner hengel, soos wat ek nou hierso maak. Dan weet jy, hou hom mooi uit die modder uit en let op mooi hierso wat doen ek. Die hoek se punt en die weerhakkie is heeltemal oop. En dis belangrik. Maar ek skuif ook nie die floutie te ver agtertoe nie. Ek het al hengelaars gesien wat die floutie tot hier by die oogie van die hoek skuif. En dis ook nie ideaal nie. Jy wil net hê die punt en 'n bietjie van die buig moet oop wees dat die hoek sy werk kan doen. En daai is perfekte hoekaas spesifiek vir karp. Jy probeer hom gerus.
Dat is 'n interessante ene. Gordon, how do you hook a floutie?
I like to cut the floatie in half
Why?
and hook off. I don't know. It works for me.
Just use a smaller floatie and then it's smaller.
And I don't put a dough on with a floatie.
You don't?
No. I don't know. Maybe I've been wrong, but if you put a dough in a floatie, then it's not a floatie anymore. Then it's lying on the ground. But I don't know. Maybe it comes buoyant like I don't know. But I don't. If you put a floatie on, you put a floatie on for it to float.
Put dough and you
You put a dough and then it lies on the ground anyway, depending on the size of your dough. So I like to cut a floatie in half. I like the small little round floats of Champion. Champion makes good floats. Champion floats, those little round floats, those garlic floats of are perfect. And these gumtree floats, I use that. Those gumtree floats work for me. I just put one on the hook, throw it. It's perfect.
Good. Kom ons gee 'n bietjie pryse weg. Die eerste Super Bonanza Lucky Draw. Ons gee weg R500 Elegant Fuel voucher. En kom ons spin die wiel. Gordon, kan jy ver sien? Kan jy daar sien?
Nee, glad nie.
Kan ek sien?
Ek sien die ding spin.
Kom ons kyk. Hy gaan nou groot word. Kan jy sien waar daar staan? Oh, dis die voordeel as jy veterane vis, jy hoef nie te lees wat op die
Dis
skrif.
Kobus Rousseau. Ja, as hy Kobus Rousseau, hy is die wenner.
Okay, Kobus Rousseau, jy het R500 se brandstof. Jou bakkie het, is dit 'n halwe tank, as jy op die kant hou, is dit 'n vol tank. Goed, ons gaan nou die volgende ene weggee. Kom ons gaan na die volgende seksie, maar ons sê baie dankie vir Boule en Kolletjie Voer wat die volgende seksie vir ons moontlik maak. Gordon, kom ons praat 'n bietjie oor die finals die dag self. How did you perceive it? And let's start with the semis. You fished the semis at Eiland as well. You didn't go. The seniors
No,
went
we
to
fished at Eiland meer, ja.
Yeah, the seniors went to Chrissy's for the semis.
Yes.
You had the same venue both days.
Yes.
You also fished the teams, and
yes.
and one of the bowline teams did actually very well. They were the champions.
That's correct.
What did you learn from the teams day? Because personally, you told me that you didn't do too well on the teams day.
No, I only caught 6 fish. And I don't know what the problem was. I was fishing the same, but some people were fishing further. Look, the guy that won our zone only had 10 fish. And I had 6 fish.
Okay, so it's not too far.
It wasn't too far out, but it was quite a bad day, but that's fine. You lose a lot, and that's what we done. And then when it came to the first day of the elite, the semi-finals, I hooked my lines in on 55 and 65. And I was fishing on there. I got a fish narrow, got a fish, and the wind was blowing hard. I fished with 1.5s and 2s. The fish doesn't eat the weight. I wish people understand fish don't eat weights. They eat the bait on the hook. So they all say, yeah, but you're throwing a 1.5 or a 2 on 65 with my line straight. And I walked to the front of my stand and I cast it in and it went straight down. And I never had enough slack to get back. And I hooked my line out and I walked back about 3 meters, maybe 3.5 meters, and I hooked it back in and put my rod on. Within 5 minutes, I had a bite. And that was the end of it. I was on the right spot. I measured the other one out there and I was into them. And I got them. I got 22 for the day. And I started off bad because I think the water runs different banks. And if you get onto the proper bank at the right distance, the fish are on that bank.
So 2 meters or 3 meters can make a
It
difference.
made a hell of a difference to me. That water runs with a platter. If you walk, you can see how the water drops.
But sometimes that is very relevant on any other dam as well. In a question of a meter or two, the bottom and whether it's depth or a structure or just the type of bottom,
Yeah.
it can change in a meter or two,
Yeah.
and then you can either be into the fish or out.
Out. Yeah, that's what worked for me. The extra 3 meters. And then I started getting bite after bite after bite. No matter what I put on, I got a bite.
Now that's always a question that I have. If I'm not getting bites, the question is, what do I change? And I always like to change distance first, but how long do you persist on a specific spot before you change distance or spot or whatever? What is your
You know
have a
what?
golden rule?
The problem is when you're on a spot, you don't like to move off the spot.
Yeah.
Because maybe they'll come back later, or maybe they won't. So I don't really always change. I like to stay on that same spot all the time. And if it works for me, it works. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But I like to take one rod and throw it a bit further. One at maybe a 65 or an 85, and then one on the 115. That's a good cast for me, a 115, you know. I like casting 115, 120 is pushing it, but I like to cast on a 115. You can hit the clip and not battle.
You're on
but-
the spot.
yeah,
all the
but
time.
I like to stay on the one spot all the time. If I go to Moormans, I don't think I ever fished close at Moormans. Also just fish at 115, 120, 115, 120. If they come, they come. If they don't, it's too bad. And that's
But how long will you persist and not getting bites before you change?
yeah. Sometimes
hour, 2 hours?
Yeah, sometimes even longer. And then now and again, they seem to come back. But if you like when I was fishing at the finals, the day of the finals, I got three small carp, close, and one carp on the 115, 120 it was about. And I thought to myself, well, you know, I think we fish in the wrong spot, because I could see the way the bank was coming down on the other side of the other side. It was coming down at a steep on the side of the rocks. And this was going down gradually. So I took my trace out, I loaded fly nets and worms and put a P8 on it, and I threw it as hard as I can.
Strykyster.
Yeah, I threw the 130 mark outside. I don't know how far that was. And I don't really cast far like other people. Put my rod down, I went up to my truck to reload another trace. When I got to my truck, that reel started running. And I knew I had the spot. I got 11 barbel out there and 11 carp. That's how it works. It just was a matter of, you've got to do something now, let's catch a barbel. And that's it. I went, and I got big carps out there as well.
Okay, on the flying ants.
On the flying ants too, the carps take the flying ants and the worms.
Yeah.
But they were in that railway I was casting.
No bomb, nothing.
No bomb. Just skoon lood, flat out, yeah.
Daar binne.
Daar binne, yeah. And we had the wind from behind. So I actually got a few more meters.
Ja, so gooi hom net hoog.
Yeah, just throw it as hard as you can. Go stand next to the peg because the wind was, and then you throw it out that way and the wind takes it to where you want it. And I also saw when I was fishing close, when you throw your line, the policeman will come down like that. And when I threw it out there, your line lies straight like that. Straight down, and it's straight like that. And I knew I was right. And it just one after the other.
What is your, let's just talk terminal tackle a bit. Now, if you're fishing for the barbel and you bring a strykyster and ants and those type of things, what type of trace do you use?
No, I just use a bottom weight. About anything, I don't really measure it. It's about that long, 400 or 450, 600. Yeah, 600. And if it's...
And hook lengths?
Also, my hook lengths, I think, are 150 to 200.
Yeah.
The 200 is better for
the barbel.
For the barbel, yeah. And
you fish heavy on the
no,
ends?
if I'm my hook lines is 14 pound on the hooks and 25 on the other line. Yeah.
How do you tie? Do you use gummy stops or do you?
No. I use three-way swivels. Okay. Yeah, I put a three-way. That's how I fish, and then I make a loop. You know, like we make a loop on a normal trace, and that I tie to the top of it. It's easy to on and off, and putting it through the swivel. That's how I fish it. And
what types of hook do you use for flying ants?
Number 4 circle hooks.
Circle hooks.
Yeah, people don't think I don't know how to. That thing is, if you got the right fingers, it's easy to load. Circle hooks, number 4 circle hooks, and number 8 circle hooks for a fish head.
What?
Yeah.
Flying ants on a circle hook.
Yeah, flying ants on a circle hook. Finished and klar.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Is it a thin circle?
Yeah, it's a Galagazzi.
Oh.
They're very thin.
Kamagazzi.
Yeah. They're very thin. They're very good hooks.
Yeah. They also spring.
Yeah. Okay. They're not as thick as the others. Are too heavy.
What stage in the game on the final you knew you had it in the bag?
No stage. Because I had Willie Sevenstad on my left-hand side that was catching well. And he catches well for an old man. And I had the guy from Northern Transvaal.
Snorre.
No, not Snorre. I've forgotten his name. I'm very bad with names. Him on my right, he was also catching well. And then they were all beating me. And then I started to get these big fish and that. And then I knew if I carried on like that, I'd catch them because they were far ahead of me. And then it was over.
So you never knew until the end
I never knew
whether you caught them or
the
not?
last half an hour, yeah.
Okay, you had a couple of nice barbels.
Yeah, my biggest one was about 8 or 10 kilos. And then I had a couple of small ones too and a couple of very small ones. But they were all over 150 grams, nearly 200 grams and that. But the fish is a fish if it's over 150.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
When you started catching the bigger carp on the barbel plan, were you surprised or did you sort of expect it?
No, I've caught like that before. Yeah, so I wasn't very surprised because I've caught it like that before at the Val Dam as well. I've done that before and caught them. But I don't know what it is that tells you to do that, but there's something that comes into your head when you're doing it. Do it now, and you just do it. I don't know what it is. It's just a thing. And there's a couple of people in Southern Transvaal and at the essays and Namibia. I also done the same. I went to Namibia and I just caught barbel there already.
Yeah.
While other people are catching carp. And it's just something that comes into your head that says, now's the time to do this.
Did you at that later stage in the final when you actually started catching bigger barbel?
I knew I had a chance.
Yeah, but did you ever consider putting a head or something and throw that because they were bigger barbel or not?
No, because you can't get the distance there. But there was one or two guys that did catch barbel on heads. But
Not at the rate.
not big ones. No, not at the rate I was catching. At the Val, I'll throw a head. If it's opportunity, I'll throw a head. But there, I never even really thought about it.
Okay.
That's how I fished.
So how does it feel, even after so many tournaments that you've won? How does it feel to walk up there and be announced the winner? And it doesn't matter the size of the check. How does it feel? What does it do?
Yes, I don't know. It gives you a feeling to fish more. It gives you that feeling to say,
Accomplishment.
you're not like useless anymore. You're like, even though you're winning and you're at the essays every year and you do well at the essays and get Victor or Durham, and to win this thing was, now I can go forward.
Yeah.
I just got to look after my health. Now I can go forward. And that was such a nice thing that they've brought us veterans in.
Yeah.
And the veterans are such a nice crowd of people to fish. If you're over 60, come to the veterans, guys. That's such a nice crowd of people, even at the elites and that.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable being a veteran. It's amazing. And you get a lot of respect from the other fishermen too, I think. That's also a big thing.
Well, fortunately, still 2 or 3 years for me. Okay, kom ons luister wat sê Jannie oor die res van die tackle wat ons nog nie na gekyk het nie van Sensation. Kyk gerus daarna en hoor wat hy sê. Daar's 'n paar interessante goed.
2 ranges. We got Loomis and Franklin, and then Akuma. So let's start with the Loomis and Franklin. We've got 2 new rods in the range there, or 2 new ranges of rods. The first one is the Gully Pro. So these rods are available from 8 foot, 9 foot, 10 foot, and 11 foot, and they designed for scratching. Specifically for the guys in the Natal market who like to put on a KP reel. It has the low reel seat, carbon blank, EVA grips, nice light actions, refined, quite tippy. So, for catching your blacktail, bronze bream, ideal rods for that kind of operation.
Okay, really, as the name says, in the gullies.
Exactly, yeah.
Is it similar? If I look at the blank, you had another spinning rod.
The Archipelago.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So, no, the Archipelago is a much higher spec than this rod. So that has Fuji K series guides on, and it's a HMG 36-ton blank. This is, you'll see it on the price level as well. It's aimed at that entry-level type angler. So yeah, you've got a 24-ton blank.
Okay, but you see the design lines going through, eh? It's similar.
Yes, so, Loomis has a look, and we try to stick to that look and give it its own unique feel.
You can see it's the same family.
Yeah, and Loomis was missing a scratching type rod, so we've added that in now, so hopefully that plugs the gap. Then the next rod we have is probably the most popular rock and surf rod in the Loomis range, and that's the Shockwave HMG. And we've redone the whole range there. So a couple of changes that you'll notice. It's got this all-weather type grip on it here. The previous one had the blue and white EVA. So it's still a very eye-catching rod. Stands out in the crowd. And these are HMG rods, 36-ton carbon. The big change we've made here is on the ferrule design. So this now has a spigot ferrule where you've got an insert here. We find these type of ferrules are much more durable for surf fishing.
Yeah.
You'll always see there's a gap there, and that gap, just move it closer there. That gap is left there so that as the ferrule wears, it'll seat itself.
It'll go down.
It's meant to have a gap. So.
Yeah. And then the longer and the harder you fish it, the smaller the gap will turn.
Yes. So again, we've got a lighter, nicer rod than its predecessor. So look out for this HMG range in the shops.
I like the look and the feel of that, of the butt section of the handle, instead of the EVA, that blue and white EVA. It feels good, and when your hands are getting wet, it will really, it's a nice feel, and I see they've done it on the Akuma as well.
Yeah, and the nice thing is it's also branded Loomis and Franklin. So, yeah, much more comfortable grip, and it offers you good all-weather conditions when your rod's wet or if it's raining or something like that. Just one other thing there to note on the spinning models, we have added bionic fingers onto them. So, nice rods, and they have Fuji guides as well, so it can take a punch, that rod.
Yeah, and the bionic finger makes a big difference.
I think what's always separated that Loomis HMG range is how light they are, and we've maintained that, so they're really light rods with a very good action.
Okay. That's on the Loomis side.
And then in Akuma, we have 2 new ranges there. We've also introduced a scratching rod there, which we've called the Rock Ranger. And here you go. As you can see, again, the short butt. But we've put on a natural cork, AAA grade cork handles. This rod also has what we call an OPP wrap on it with the Akuma branding, and what that does is it looks good and it offers protection. So it's a very thin layer of plastic, and what that does is any nicks and scratches and that, it's a more hard-wearing material than the standard paint that you have on most blanks.
And it looks good, and it gives it a bit of structure. You can feel that. You can actually feel the Akuma.
Yeah, it's
really nice.
I wouldn't say rough, but it's definitely it's a nice texture.
Different.
So these rods are available from 8 foot right through to 12 foot. I think if I remember correctly, the 10, 11, 12 also are fitted, or 11 and 12 are fitted with bionic fingers as well. So, if you're throwing a slightly bigger weight, it gives you a little bit of comfort there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So again, an ideal rod for your blacktail, bronze bream, stone bream, all that scratching that you're going to be doing.
Also in the gullies.
Yeah, and I think the bigger rods will handle a brusher as well. So.
Yeah. Okay, and this looks like a bit of a flagship.
Yeah, so a lot of people will be familiar with the precision rods that we brought out last year, which were aimed very much at edible, light scratching kind of fishing. So there we went up to a 14-foot 3 to 5 ounce rod. There was a 12-foot, 13-foot, and a 14-foot model. So what we've done since then is we've expanded that range to include another 5 models. So essentially it'll cover your whole rock and surf requirements. So we've added I just got to remember that I get everything right. There's a 14-foot 4 to 6 ounce. So we had the 3 to 5, now we've got a 4 to 6 ounce as well. Then we've got a 14-foot 6, 3 to 5 ounce. So again, a light rod, but it gives you that extra 6 inches, and some guys just prefer that extra length. Gives you a little bit more clearance.
Yes, a bit of height.
And it won't hurt on the casting either. Then we have a 15-foot. There's 2 14-foot 6 models. The other one is a 14-foot 6 to 8 ounce model, which will handle most of your flatfish, sharks, bigger
Nice
edibles.
rod to cast with and to put on the drone.
Yeah, a good all-rounder. And then we have 2 15-foot models. So we have a 15-foot 3 to 6 ounce, which is aimed at your edible anglers. So a good all-round rod will give you that little bit of extra distance when you need to get out onto the far banks. And then we have a 15-foot 6 to 8 ounce. So, from 3 rods, it's now up to a full range of 8 rods. And I think the guys are really going to like them. They've proved very popular in the past. They have an Akuma reel seat, a bionic finger or MCA, and they fit it with Fuji Faz-like guides. So it's a K-series frame, so it's that anti-tangle style frame. Faz-Lite you'll see has got a blue type material inside it. So it's slightly softer than alkanite, but it's much harder than the O-ring material. So it'll handle braid, no problem.
Okay.
All right.
Wow, that's interesting. Okay, Danny, well done. I think you guys have done well with the entire range. There's a couple of new things, but you've also slotted them in nicely in between the performing ranges that you currently have.
Yeah, we're always trying to add things in and keep things fresh and new. So,
but no use to break something that's not, or to fix something that's not broken.
no, absolutely not.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's all looking good. Sales are going well, so the market's responding well, so we're doing something right.
Excellent, well done, great stuff, and thank you
Thanks.
for the time that we could spend here with you.
Good.
Okay julle, daar het ons nou 'n lekker round-up gehad op alles wat Sensation het, en baie dankie dat julle saam gekuier het. Gaan uit, onthou nou, soos wat ons deur die program gesê het, alles is nie dadelik beskikbaar nie, dis 'n staggered release, wat noem jy dit? Hulle kom so in sulke batches.
Ja, soos jy vir kaffers het stuur, jy weet, dinge is maar moeilik met al die shipping and delays and COVID en joh, maar ons
Ja,
probeer.
so it's quite a challenge, but some of the stuff will be coming later, some of it is already here. So, baie dankie dat julle saam gekuier het, ons sien julle volgende keer. Wel, nou ja, daar's 'n paar baie interessante stokke van Sensation. Ek het nou, terwyl ons met Jannie gesels het, ek bietjie deurgegaan en gekyk wat julle alles kwytraak op die Facebook bladsy, op die live. Ek moet vir julle sê, julle is ongelooflik kreatief. En as ek net so kyk na die ouens en hoekom hulle die DC Premier wil wen, moet ek vir julle krediet gee. Julle is ongelooflik, well done. Nou ja, nou gee ons weer bietjie weg. Mehanze Estate, 8 mense in die kliphuis vir 'n naweek, pryswaarde R4,000. So kom ons kyk wie wen hierdie ene. Kan jy hom lees? Pieter Potgieter.
Pieter Potgieter.
Okay, Pieter Potgieter, jy gaan Mehanzi toe vir 'n naweek. Nou ja, dan sê ek baie dankie vir Sensation wat vir ons die volgende insetsel moontlik maak. Gordon, now I want to talk about something else that is a little bit controversial, but I think you are a bit controversial. Not maybe controversial, but unconventional. Because you don't necessarily fish the same or following other people. Jy fish bietjie jou eie mind.
Yes, I don't know what it is, but I just like to go and do my own thing. I just go and fish for myself. And I also don't like listening to people, what they say. You know, we can have talks and team talks and that I still like to fish my own way. And you can say it's controversial, but it's a thing that I've developed just to go and fish and do my own thing. And I hate phoning people to ask them what they've done, do this, do that. I want to know what I've done, so I want to go and do it myself.
In a team setup, wouldn't it sometimes be regarded as hard-headed or?
I suppose they do, but when we have a team talk, we talk about these things and we say, yeah, I also use that and we use that and we use that and that was my distance and that and that and that. But I also like to stick to my own bait when I fish. I like, because I don't know, I just don't know what it is about me. Maybe there's something wrong with me, but I just like to fish my own way. And if we fish in a team thing and say, let's say Lani or Caboose or Spike says, Gordon, ek het hierdie gedoen, try dit net. I'll try it. Or Ari will come to me and he say, luister, daai ou sit dit en dit en dit op die hoek. He won't tell you to try it. But try it. And if it works, it works.
Yeah.
And
I guess it has to do a lot with confidence in what you believe.
Yes, a lot.
Do you think that believing in what you're doing in fishing is one of the success factors?
I think it's a success factor even in your work when you're working. Fishing and working, if you got to be like you got to do your work like you'll do your fishing.
Oh, for me it's easy.
Yeah, for you. So you know I don't really know what it is. I just do it to my best. I always go and try my best. I just don't go for fun. I never do fun fishing. I hate fishing club competitions. I like to fish, and I hate fishing leagues and things like that. I want to fish in the competitions where the competition's good. I'm so glad I started fishing the Elite and the Pro Mania last year. That is the real deal to fish. Then you want to go and do your own thing. You don't want anybody to tell you anything. But we had a captain, Lapis Labaskachni, and he would never tell you what to do. He'll come past you and say to me, Gordon, that ow's using a floaty with a garlic dough and he's throwing at 120. And he'll come back and he'll say to you, have you caught anything? Well, let me tell you, if you never tried it by the time he comes back, you've got a problem. And if he won't tell you, but he won't tell you that's what they're using. Automatically, when he says that, you pull your one rod out and you throw it. And you've got so much confidence in a guy like that, that the bait works. And that's, I think with Southern Transvaal, we've won a lot of essays like that.
Yeah. But it's sort of the same as believing in what you do yourself.
Yes.
It's all about casting and believing you're going to catch a fish.
That's it. You can't go there and fish and cast and say, well, I'm going to pull this rod out in 5 minutes if it doesn't bite. That rod can lie there for 2 hours. In the winter, you throw 3 times and catch 3 fish.
Yeah.
That's it for the whole day, because that bait never comes off. In the winter, those things were lying for 2 hours, 2 hours 15 before the reel ran. If you keep pulling it in and out, just leave it. Nothing. The fish will eat it when they come past.
If you get to a new venue that you've never fished before, how will you decide, how do I start?
Sure, well, it was like this weekend as well. Got to a new venue. I didn't know how to start. I fished 60, 65. Some I was talking, they were using worms. Worms worked. And I had a bad day the first day in the team thing. And then the second day, I put a couple of things together and I said, this is what I'm going to start with. And that's how I'm going to fish. And that's how it worked. And the last day, I done the same, but it wasn't. And then I just changed my mind. I thought, well, now I'm going to go flat out. And just something turns in your mind and you do that, and it worked.
Okay, so now you get to a new venue that you've never fished before. What are the 2 distances that you would cast, and why, and what will be the bait?
Well, my first distance, I think, if it's depending on the slope of the water, if it's deep, I'll start at 65 and 85 maybe. But if it's flat, I'll just cast the 95 or 120 or 125. 125 is a bit difficult, but I'll throw 115 and a 120. And I always start with a worm on the one hook, a floaty dough, or just 2 doughs. I like to use a custard dough on the bottom, and that's how I always start. And I think, I don't know, the best dip, I still think is Petit Chenin. Petit Chenin's a dip, yo. I've got a lot of fish on Petit Chenin.
Do you use it again now?
Yeah, Petit Chenin's a dip. Yes. Barry, if that stuff goes off the market, I'm coming to roll with you. That stuff works. No, really, that Petit Chenin's a good dip.
Okay.
Yeah, I always start with a Petit Chenin.
Good. Now, what did I want to ask? Now I forgot. That custard dough of yours.
Yes.
Can you share a bit of
Never.
secret? You just make it, put custard.
No, just buy custard
milk.
powder, and you can't just make it in 10 minutes. You got to get that custard to go in, otherwise it becomes brittle.
Yes, I know, because every time I make custard,
You got to at least half an hour. You got to like you really make. You got to. That's the only way to do it. And then when you get to the water, it's perfect. It doesn't break. It doesn't do anything. Because it's always brittle. The custard makes it brittle.
Yes, I know.
Yeah. And you got to do a little bit at a time and do it a lot. It takes a long time to make custard.
But then you make a lot.
Yeah, you make a lot. Put it in the fridge. Yeah. Yeah.
You only put custard in there, or is there another little
put
secret?
stuff into this just to keep it going.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
you
good.
use something that keeps it. Yeah.
Okay, good. Now, Gordon, baie dankie. Next year, what is your big goal for the next angling year?
Now, well, I want to make the teams for the essays if I can, the masters and the veterans, and then I'm definitely going to fish the elite again next year. Okay. I really enjoyed myself at the elite this year, and it's a nice bunch of people there. And the hosts are very nice. And they always phone you if somebody withdraws and said, listen, Gordon, this oak's withdrawn, do you want a place? And this is what I like about the elites. The guys are very, very accommodating.
Okay, well, that's good. It's nice to have
yes,
like that.
those that hosting the elite are very nice people. And the lady that's hosting, listen, there's a lady that hosts elites on a Wednesday. For lazy people like myself that doesn't want to work on a Wednesday. So we got a elite on Wednesdays. Guys, come on, we got to support her.
Yes, where?
And we only fish at AHV. I mean RPA's water. RPA's water.
For the old men, just
a lovely old lady. She comes down there. She pegs it 20 meters apart, 25 meters apart, and we have a lovely day.
Oh, wow.
And they're beautiful elites on a Wednesday, and she's going to start hosting them soon again. And it's lovely on a Wednesday.
Well,
and also the old toppies that go out on themselves, make it a Wednesday and come to the elite, man.
Yeah.
Because all the retired people have one competition a month. Come to the elite.
Okay, do something.
Fishing. Wednesday fishing.
Well, that's
a good elite. Ja.
Nou ja, wat is volgende? Gordon, baie dankie. Dankie dat jy saam met ons gedeel het. Kom ons kyk wat het Gys Spitzer Motors in store vir ons. Is daar nie ene nie? Hy is op die program. Okay, ons het nie 'n Gys Spitzer nie. Dan gee ons weg Eagles Landing by Kariba. Hierdie is 'n ongelooflike prys. 2 mense, 6 dae verblyf, etes en visvang ingesluit, ter waarde van, luister hierna, R21,600. So dit is die prys wat ons nou gaan trek. So kom ons trek Eagles Landing. Kobus Rousseau, hy het nou ook, wat het hy gewen? Die
Kobus Rousseau.
Hy het die fuel gewen.
Ja, is dit?
Ek dink so. Hy het gewen nou, ek weet nie wat nie. Maar nou ja, Kobus Rousseau, as jy die fuel gewen het, die vorige ene, dan het jy nou brandstof om te ry na Eagles Landing, Kariba. Jy gaan meer as 1 tank nodig hê. Maar nou ja, daar is hy, ongelooflike prys. Baie dankie vir die Super Bonanza se ongelooflike borge. Nou ja, nou gaan ons weggee. 'n Pragtige stand, dis 'n 3-poot en Johan bou hom vir jou na gelang van die grootte van jou hengelkas. Almal wat For Anglers lede is en op 'n jaarlikse basis aangesluit het, se naam is in daardie wiel. So kom ons spin en ons kyk wie is die wenner. Andrew Campbell. Andrew, baie geluk, jy is die wenner. Ek gaan jou in kontak sit met Johan Mostert en hy gaan seker maak daardie stand van jou is pasgemaak vir jou kas. Nou ja, al wat oorbly is vir my om te sê baie dankie. Eerstens die belangrikste persoon in die kamer. Nou ja, hierdie flesse is 'n spesiale For Anglers Live fles. En die enigste manier wat jy hierdie fles kan kry, is om in hierdie hot seat te sit. Vir 'n hele program met my opgeskeep sit en al my stupid vrae te antwoord. Gordon, baie dankie. Dankie dat jy saam met ons gekuier het. Daar's vir jou 'n lekker fles waar jy in die somer jou koeldrank kan koud hou en in die winter jou koffie kan warm hou.
My melk daar bere.
Yeah, I've told it before, but you know the Irish joke, eh? About the greatest Irish invention. Yeah, Paddy comes and he says, no, you see, I've got this latest Irish invention. He says, yeah, what's that? He says, no, it's a thermal flask. So his mate says, so what's a thermal flask? He says, no, it's this beautiful invention. He says, what do you do with it? So no, you keep cold things cold and hot things hot. He said, why? What do you got inside? He said, no, coffee and ice cream. Gordon, thank you very much. Thank you for sharing your experiences and thank you for being brutally honest about fishing.
Yeah.
And thank you for having a passion and exciting and igniting other anglers
Yeah.
outside.
If you haven't got a passion, then you can't fish.
Absolutely.
You got to have the passion for fishing.
Yeah. No, that's true.
Yeah.
If you have that, you have everything.
Yeah, then you got it forever.
Okay. Baie dankie, Gordon.
Dankie.
En dan Gys Spitzer Motors wat dit vir ons moontlik maak om hier op stel te wees. Thys Venter van Orion Audio Visual. Dankie dat julle ons media vennote is hier binne of ons om ons sê hardeware vennote. En onthou, môre is die Sensation review van die 5 12-voet stokke. Ons het so 'n bietjie van die 13s wat ons gegooi het ook. Ons het ongelooflik lekker gegooi met hulle. En maak seker op daai video gooi jy ook jou kommentaar in om die DC Premier 12-voet te wen. Baie dankie aan Sensation wat vir ons hierdie stok beskikbaar gestel het. En vir Jannie wat altyd met ons bereid is om inligting te deel oor die produkte. Baie dankie vir die span aan die ander kant van die kameras wat die program bymekaar sit, Jessica en Jonathan. Well done, dit was baie lekker. En dan vir julle, die belangrikste mense in hierdie verhouding aan die ander kant van die skerm, op die selfone, op die rekenaars, waar julle ook al kyk. Baie dankie dat julle kyk, baie dankie dat julle hengelaars is in bloed en murg. En ons sien julle volgende week, Dinsdag aand, 4 Anglers live op Bank Anglers se Facebook bladsy en 4 Anglers se YouTube kanaal. Totsiens.